speak blessings upon yourself and instantly transform your entire world. So you see, when you truly understand how to bless yourself, you are engaging in the highest form of creation. So you are doing what God does continuously. Consider the first chapter of Genesis, where God speaks blessings upon his creation. Notice how he didn't ask anyone else to bless his work. He blessed it himself. This is the pattern you must follow, for you are that same creative power individualized as you. Let me share with you why blessing yourself is the most powerful act you can perform. First, you must understand that when you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are not engaging in mere positive thinking or affirmations. You are exercising your divine creative power, for you are God individualized as you. Many of you come to me seeking blessings from others, from teachers, from gurus, from religious leaders. But I tell you now, no one can bless you more powerfully than you can bless yourself. For you are the operant power in your world, and your word is the creative power of God in action. When you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are doing what God did in the beginning. Remember the words, and God blessed them. He didn't wait for someone else to bless his creation. He blessed it himself. And you, being made in his image and likeness, must do the same. Let me share with you the proper way to speak blessings upon yourself. First, you must understand that when you say, I bless myself, you are not speaking as a mortal being. You are speaking as God individualized. For your I am is God. And when you speak blessings from your I am, you are speaking with all the power of creation. Consider this: every time you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are literally recreating your world. For your word is God's word, and God's word cannot return void. It must accomplish that which it is sent to do. But and this is crucial, your blessings must be spoken with understanding and feeling. You cannot merely repeat words mechanically and expect results. You must feel the truth of the blessing as you speak it. For feeling is the secret. And without feeling, words are empty. Let me give you a perfect example from Scripture. When Isaac blessed Jacob, he felt the blessing as he spoke it. He wasn't just saying words, he was feeling the reality of what he was declaring. And this is exactly how you must speak blessings upon yourself. Many of you might be thinking, but Neville, isn't it selfish to bless myself? Let me tell you something, it is the most unselfish thing you can do. For when you bless yourself, truly understanding that you are God individualized, you are blessing all of creation. For there is no other. What you see as others is yourself pushed out. Let me share with you how to properly structure your self-blessings. Begin with your I am. For this is the name of God. Then speak your blessing with absolute conviction. For example, I am blessed with perfect health. I am blessed with unlimited abundance. I am blessed with divine wisdom. But remember, these are not mere affirmations. They are acknowledgments of what is already true in consciousness. For when you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are not trying to make something true. You are acknowledging what is already true in the spiritual realm. Consider this principle I have tested and proven countless times. When you bless yourself, you are performing the highest act of creation. For in blessing yourself, you are acknowledging your divine nature, and what you acknowledge must manifest in your experience. Let me share with you the 3 aspects of effective self-blessing. First, there is recognition. When you bless yourself, you must recognize that you speak as God individualized. Not as a mortal being hoping for good, but as the divine creator declaring what is. Second, there is feeling. Your blessings must be accompanied by the feeling of their fulfillment. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, you must feel the vitality, the strength, the well-being that this blessing implies. For feeling is the secret of creation. Third, there is acceptance. You must accept that your blessing is already fulfilled in consciousness. Not that it will be, not that it might be, but that it is. For consciousness is the only reality, and what you accept in consciousness must externalize itself in your world. Many of you make the mistake of blessing yourself while looking at your current circumstances. But I tell you now, circumstances have no power over your blessings unless you give them that power. Your blessings create circumstances, not the other way around. Let me share with you a profound truth about self-blessing that most of the world has missed. When you bless yourself, you are not asking for something to be given to you. You are acknowledging what is already yours by divine right. For all blessings already exist in consciousness, waiting to be acknowledged and claimed. Consider the words of Scripture before they call. I will answer. This means that every blessing you could ever speak upon yourself already exists in consciousness. Your speaking of the blessing is not creating it. It is acknowledging and claiming what already is. Let me share with you how to maintain the consciousness of your self-blessings throughout your day. Most people speak a blessing and then return to their old patterns of thought. But I tell you now, your blessing must become your constant inner conversation. I think about this carefully. Every time you speak a blessing upon yourself, you are literally rearranging the entire spiritual substance of your universe. For your consciousness is God, and what God blesses must manifest. Let me give you some specific blessings that I have found particularly powerful. First, I am blessed with perfect understanding of my own divine nature. This blessing opens the door to all other blessings, for when you truly understand your divine nature, all things become possible. Second, I am blessed with the constant awareness of my creative power. This blessing keeps you mindful of your true identity as God individualized. For you see, most people forget their divine nature and slip back into mortal thinking. Third, I am blessed with the ability to see past appearances to the truth of being. This blessing helps you maintain your focus on the reality of consciousness rather than the shadows of circumstances. Consider how these blessings work together. Each one strengthens the others, creating a powerful foundation for all your other blessings. For when you truly understand your divine nature, are aware of your creative power, and can see past appearances, you become a master of conscious creation. Many of you may be wondering how often to speak these blessings. Let me tell you something. It's not about frequency, it's about consciousness. One blessing spoken with complete understanding and feeling is worth more than 1,000 spoken mechanically. Let me share with you another principle about self-blessing that most people miss. When you bless yourself, you are not speaking to yourself as a mortal being, you are speaking as God to his creation. For you are both the blesser and the blessed, the creator and the creation. Think about this carefully. When God said, let there be light, he didn't doubt whether it was possible. He didn't wonder about the process. He simply declared it and knew it was done. This is exactly how you must speak your blessings upon yourself. Consider the power in this understanding. When you say, I am blessed, you are speaking with the same authority that created the universe. For your I am is the same I am that spoke all things into being. Let me share with you how to handle doubts when they arise after speaking your blessings, and they will arise. Many of you speak a blessing upon yourself and then immediately begin to question whether it will work. But I tell you now, doubt is simply your former consciousness trying to maintain its position. Consider what happens in nature when you plant a seed. The seed doesn't doubt whether it will become what it is meant to be. It simply begins its transformation according to its nature. Your blessings work the same way. They are spiritual seeds planted in the fertile soil of consciousness. Let me give you a deeper understanding of how this works. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, for example, you have planted a seed in consciousness. Now, just as a physical seed needs time to sprout and grow, your blessing needs time to externalize itself in your world. And this is crucial, while the outer manifestation may take and change in consciousness is immediate when the blessing is properly spoken. For you see, the moment you speak a blessing with understanding and feeling, you have altered the entire spiritual substance of your universe. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, I've spoken blessings before and nothing changed. Let me tell you something my teacher Abdullah taught me. Nothing changes because you spoke the words. Things change because you became what you declare. Let me share with you another principle about self-blessing that most of the world has missed. When you bless yourself, you are not trying to influence God to give you something. You are exercising your divine power as God individualized, for your consciousness is God and your word is His word. Consider the story of the prodigal son. Notice how the father didn't wait for someone else to bless his returning son. He blessed him himself. This is exactly what you must do. You must be both the father giving the blessing and the son receiving it. This brings me to a deeper truth about self-blessing. When you say I am blessing, you are acknowledging both your divine nature, I am, and your human experience, blessed. You are bringing heaven and earth together in your consciousness. Let me share with you what I call the 7 pillars of self-blessing. These are the foundational principles that must be understood if your blessings are to have their full creative power. The first pillar is recognition. You must recognize that you are the one who blesses. Not your personality, not your mortal self, but your I am. For when you say I am blessed, you are speaking as God individualized, not as a mortal being seeking favors. The second pillar is authority. When you bless yourself, you must speak with complete authority. Consider how God speaks in Scripture, not with doubt, not with hesitation, but with absolute authority. Let there be light. These are words of complete authority. The third pillar is feeling. Your blessings must be accompanied by the feeling of fulfillment. Not the feeling of wanting to be blessed, but the feeling of being blessed. For feeling is the secret, and without the proper feeling, your words lack power. The fourth pillar is present tense. Notice how God never said there will be light. He said, let there be light. Your blessings must be spoken in the present tense, for consciousness knows only now. The fifth pillar is persistence. Not the persistence of mechanical repetition, but the persistence of maintaining the consciousness of being blessed, for your blessing must become your dominant state of consciousness. The sixth pillar is understanding. You must understand that your blessing is not creating something new. It is acknowledging what already exists in consciousness. For all blessings already exist in the spiritual realm, waiting to be claimed. And the seventh pillar is gratitude. When you bless yourself, you must feel grateful not for what will come, but for what already is. For gratitude is the evidence of faith, and faith is the substance of things hoped for. Let me share with you how these 7 pillars work together. When you recognize your true identity as God individualized, speak with divine authority, feel the reality of your blessing, maintain present tense awareness, persist in the consciousness, understand the principle, and feel genuine gratitude, your blessing must manifest. Consider how this differs from what most people do. Most people speak blessings from their mortal consciousness, with doubt in their voice, feeling the lack rather than the fulfillment, thinking of future fulfillment, giving up at the first sign of delay, lacking understanding of the principle, and feeling no gratitude until they see results. Let me share with you what I call the 3 stages of self-blessing manifestation. Most people don't understand these stages, and that's why they often give up before their blessings manifest. The first stage is spiritual. This happens instantly when you speak your blessing with understanding and feeling. In this stage, you have literally rearranged the spiritual substance of your universe. This is the most crucial stage, for it is the only stage where real creation takes place. The second stage is mental. This is where your mind begins to align with your blessing. You start to think differently, see opportunities differently, and respond to life differently. Many people mistake this for mere positive thinking, but I tell you now, it is far more than that. It is your consciousness reorganizing itself according to your blessing. The third stage is physical. This is where your outer world begins to reflect your blessing. Now, here's what's fascinating about these stages. They must occur in this order. You cannot skip the spiritual stage and go straight to the physical. You cannot bypass the mental stage and expect outer results. Consider the words of Scripture, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. This is describing these three stages. The blade is the spiritual acceptance. The ear is the mental alignment. And the full corn is the physical manifestation. Let me share with you how to recognize when you're in each stage. In the spiritual stage, you feel an inner knowing, a deep peace about your blessing. There might be no outer evidence yet, but you know it is done. In the mental stage, you begin to think thoughts that align with your blessing naturally, without effort. If you've blessed yourself with abundance, for example, you naturally begin to think abundant thoughts. If you've blessed yourself with health, you naturally begin to think healthy thoughts. In the physical stage, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match your blessing. And this is crucial. By the time you reach this stage, you're no longer anxious about it. For you see, you've already experienced the reality of reality in consciousness. Let me give you a deeper understanding of how these stages work together. When you say, I am blessed with perfect health, you instantly create this reality in the spiritual realm. This is stage one. Then your mind begins to align with this new reality. You begin to think like a healthy person, act like a healthy person, make decisions like a healthy person. This is stage two. Finally, your body and circumstances begin to reflect this new reality. But by this time, you're no longer desperate to happen, because you've been living in the Kalpanic conscious, both perfect teachers 1 and 2. Many of you make the mistake of looking for physical evidence before you've allowed the spiritual and mental stages to complete their work. But I tell you now, this is like digging up a seed to see if it's growing. You must allow each stage to unfold in its perfect timing. Let me share with you what I call the 4 states of consciousness in self-blessing. Understanding these states is crucial, for your blessing will manifest according to the state from which you speak it. The first state is the state of desire. This is where most people begin. They speak blessings from a consciousness of wanting, of needing, of lacking. But I tell you now, this state cannot produce results, for it perpetuates the very lack it seeks to overcome. The second state is the state of hope. This is better than desire, but still not powerful enough. When you speak blessings from hope, you are acknowledging that fulfillment is possible, but you haven't yet accepted it as fact in consciousness. The third state is the state of faith. Now we're moving into creative power. When you speak blessings from faith, you are speaking with conviction, with certainty, with knowing. But there's an even higher state. The fourth state is the state of knowing. This is the highest state, the state from which God creates. When you speak blessings from this state, you are speaking as God individualized, knowing that what you declare must manifest. Consider how these states progress. In the state of desire, you say, I want to be blessed. In the state of hope, you say, I might be blessed. In the state of faith, you say, I will be blessed. But in the state of knowing, you simply say, I am blessed. Let me share with you how to move from one state to another. The movement from desire to hope happens naturally as you study and understand the law. The movement from hope to faith happens through testing the law and seeing results. But the movement from faith to knowing, this is the crucial transition. The state of knowing comes when you fully realize your own divine nature. When you understand that you are God individualized, that your consciousness is the only reality, that your word is God's word, then you naturally speak blessings from the state of knowing. Many of you may be wondering how to achieve this state of knowing. Let me tell you something, it's not achieved. It's recognized. It's not something you become. It's something you already are. Your task is to remove the veils that hide this truth from your awareness. Let me share with you what I call the 5 proofs of effective self-blessing. These are the signs that tell you your blessing is taking root in consciousness and must therefore manifest in your world. The first proof is peace. When you've spoken of blessing effectively, you feel a deep peace about it. Not the peace of resignation, but the peace of knowing. For you see, when you truly know something is done in consciousness, all anxiety about it disappears. The second proof is naturalness. Your blessing begins to feel natural to you. You no longer have to convince yourself of it. It becomes as natural as breathing, as natural as your own name. The third proof is indifference to appearances. You find yourself unmoved by contradictory circumstances, not because you're practicing positive thinking, but because you know the reality exists in consciousness, not in appearance. The fourth proof is changed inner conversation. Your habitual thoughts and internal dialogue naturally align with your blessing. You don't have to force it. It happens spontaneously because consciousness always produces thoughts that match its state. The fifth proof is inspired action. You find yourself naturally taking actions that align with your blessing, not from effort or planning, but from an inner prompting that feels completely natural. Remember, dear friends, that speaking blessings upon yourself is not an act of egotism. It is an acknowledgement of your divine nature. For you are God individualized, and your word has all the creative power of the universe behind it when spoken from that understanding. Let the truth of this sink deep into your consciousness. You are blessed, not because someone else blessed you, but because you have recognized and claimed your divine inherent through the power of self-blessing. That's the message I want to leave with you tonight. Not because it's comfortable, but because it's true. Not because it's what you expected to hear, but because it's what you needed to hear. Remember, your blessings create your reality when spoken from the consciousness of who you really are. And isn't that worth thinking about? You are here because your imagination, that divine and creative force within you, has drawn you to this exact moment. Let us understand a profound truth. In all of existence, there are no accidents. Every moment, every encounter, every single word you're absorbing right now was predetermined by the state of consciousness you have been occupying. Your presence here is a testament to the law that governs all things, the law of consciousness. You see, while millions walk this earth, only a select few will receive this message. Not because it's hidden, not because it's exclusive, but because only those who are ready to awaken to their true power will be drawn to it. This is the law working with mathematical precision. Consider for a moment, out of all the possible moments in time, out of all the possible messages you could be receiving, you are here now reading these words. This is not coincidence. This is consciousness expressing itself through the perfect pattern of divine timing. Now, let me share with you what I know to be true through my own experience. The very fact that you are here means you have reached a point in your spiritual evolution where you are ready to understand the deeper mysteries of existence. You are ready to grasp that which only a few will ever comprehend. Your outer world, every detail of it, is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out. The fact that you are receiving this message now is evidence that within you there exists a state of readiness, a state of spiritual receptivity that has manifested this very moment. Many will say this is too simple to be true. They will look for complexity, for difficult paths and arduous journeys. But I tell you this, the greatest truths are always the simplest. The truth that your consciousness is the only reality is so simple that most will miss it entirely. Now, let me share with you why this message finds only those who are ready to receive it. You see, in this vast world, endless chatter and noise, only those who have reached a certain frequency of consciousness will be able to hear these words and understand their profound meaning. Consciousness, being the only reality, operates with perfect precision. Just as a radio must be tuned to the exact frequency to receive a particular broadcast, your consciousness had to be tuned to this exact spiritual frequency to receive this message. This is not theory, this is law. Consider for a moment, there are billions of thoughts being thought at this very instant, countless words being spoken and written. Yet you are here, your attention fixed on these specific words. This is not random. This is the law of consciousness operating with divine accuracy. I tell you with absolute certainty, your presence here is a sign that you have been prepared. Through all your past experiences, through every moment of doubt and questioning, to receive this truth. You have been led here by the God within you, that infinite creative power that is your true self. Now let us understand something fundamental about this moment. While others are seeking external solutions, running from teacher to teacher, from book to book, you have been drawn to this message because somewhere within you, there is a knowing. A knowing that what you seek is not outside of you, but within. Your consciousness, that infinite creative power, has brought you to this moment because you are ready to step into a new dimension of understanding. While others sleep in the dream of externalization, you are being awakened to the truth that all power lies within your own wonderful human imagination. Many will read these words and dismiss them, returning to their sleep of mortality. But you who have been chosen by your own higher self to receive this message, will recognize the ring of truth in these words. You will feel the stirring of remembrance in your soul. The very fact that these words resonate with something deep within you is proof that you are among the few who are ready to awaken from the dream of limitation. While others continue to worship at the altar of external power, you are being called to recognize the God within. Now let us delve deeper into why this particular moment holds such significance. You see, in the infinite sea of possibilities, your consciousness has drawn you to these words because you are ready to understand the magnitude of what I am about to share. This message is not meant for the masses, not because they are excluded, but because they are not yet ready to comprehend the profound simplicity of what I am sharing. They are still asleep in the dream of external causation, still believing that their reality is something happening to them rather than from them. Consider this, out of all the moments in time, out of all the possible messages you could be receiving, your consciousness has orchestrated this precise encounter. This is not chance. This is divine law expressing itself through the perfect pattern of your awakening consciousness. I tell you with absolute certainty, the very fact that you find yourself drawn to these words is evidence of your spiritual readiness. While others chase shadows in the external world, you have been prepared to receive the truth that all creation begins within. Now let me share something that few will understand, but you will recognize as truth. Your presence here, reading these words, is not separate from your desire to understand the deeper mysteries of existence. Your desire and its fulfillment are one, happening in the eternal now. Most people will continue to believe that their desires are separate from their fulfillment, that there must be a gap in time between wanting and receiving. But you who have been drawn to this message, are ready to understand that desire and fulfillment are one, separated only by our consciousness of lack. You see, while others spend their lives waiting for something to happen to them, you are being awakened to the truth that everything happens from you. Your consciousness is the only reality, and everything you experience is simply your consciousness pushed out into the world of shadows we call physical reality. The fact that you continue to resonate with these words is proof that you are among the chosen few who are ready to step into their divine inheritance, not chosen by any external force, but chosen by your own expanded consciousness, your own readiness to receive this truth. Now let me reveal to you why this message finds only those who are prepared to receive it. In all of creation, there exists a perfect law that brings the seeker to the truth precisely when they are ready to embrace it. Not a moment before, not a moment after. You see, while millions chase after material success and external validation, you have been drawn to these words because something within you, that divine spark of awareness, recognizes a deeper truth. Your consciousness has expanded to the point where you can receive what I am about to share. Consider this profound truth. In this very moment, countless individuals are seeking answers. Yet only a precious few will encounter this message. This is not because the truth is hidden, but because consciousness must be prepared to receive it. Just as a seed must be ready before it can sprout, consciousness must be ripened before it can embrace higher truth. I tell you with absolute certainty, your presence here is no accident. In the infinite wisdom of divine law, you have been brought to this exact moment because you are ready to step into a new dimension of understanding. While others remain caught in the web of external causes, you are being awakened to the truth that all causes lie within. Now let us understand something that few will ever grasp, but that you will recognize as truth. The very fact that you are receiving this message is evidence that within you exists a state of consciousness that is ready to transcend the limitations of conventional thinking. You are ready to step into the awareness that your imagination is God in action within you. Most will continue to seek their good in the world of effects, never realizing that all effects spring from the one cause, consciousness. But you who have been drawn to these words are ready to understand that consciousness is the only reality, and all else is merely its shadow. You see, while the masses continue to pray to a God outside themselves, you are being awakened to the truth that the kingdom of heaven is within you. Your consciousness is that kingdom, and your imagination is the God power operating within it. Now, let me share with you something that very few will ever understand, yet you will recognize its truth in the depths of your being. The fact that you continue reading these words is testament to a spiritual readiness that has been cultivated through countless states of consciousness. You see, while the masses remain hypnotized by the shadow world of effects, believing that what they see is what creates their reality, you have been prepared to receive the reverse of this truth. Everything you see, everything you experience is preceded by a state of consciousness that you have occupied. Consider this. At this very moment, billions of people are engaging with countless different messages, yet you are here, your attention fixed on these words. This is not chance, not coincidence, but the perfect operation of divine law. Your consciousness has drawn you to exactly what it needs for its next level of unfoldment. I tell you with complete conviction, the very fact that these words resonate within you is proof that you have reached a level of spiritual maturity that few attain in a single lifetime. While others chase after effects, you are being guided to understand the one and only cause, consciousness itself. Now, let us delve deeper into why this message finds so few ready recipients. You see, human mind is conditioned to seek complexity. To believe that spiritual truth be difficult to attain must require years of study and practice. But I tell you this, the deepest truths are so simple that most will miss them entirely. Most will continue to believe that their good must come from something or someone external to themselves. They will continue to worship at the altar of circumstances, never realizing that circumstances are merely the shadow cast by their own state of consciousness. But you who have been drawn to this message are ready to step into a new understanding. You see, while others spend their lives trying to change effects, you are being awakened to the truth that only cause can be changed, and that cause is your own wonderful human imagination. Your consciousness is the only reality, and all phenomena are simply consciousness expressed. Now, let me reveal to you something so profound, yet so simple, that most minds will reject it outright. The very moment you are experiencing now, reading these words, was created by a state of consciousness you occupied before you even knew of this message's existence. You see, while the world speaks of coincidence and chance, you are being awakened to understand that every moment is orchestrated by the law of consciousness with mathematical precision. There are no accidents in a universe governed by law, and your presence here is evidence of this truth. Consider this eternal principle: consciousness is the only reality, and everything else is an effect of consciousness. The fact that so few will receive this message is not because it is hidden, but because consciousness must first be prepared to receive it. Like a radio must be tuned to the right frequency, consciousness must be tuned to the frequency of truth. I tell you with absolute authority, your ability to understand and accept what I am sharing comes not from intellectual capacity, but from spiritual readiness. While millions remain caught in the hypnosis of materialism, you have been prepared through countless experiences to receive this revelation. Now let us understand why this message appears to so few. in the infinite wisdom of divine law. Truth reveals itself only to those who have developed the consciousness to receive it. This is not exclusivity. This is the perfect operation of spiritual law. Most will continue to believe that life is happening to them, that they are victims of circumstances, never realizing that circumstances are merely consciousness objectified. But you who resonate with these words, are ready to step into the awareness that you are the operant power in your world. You see, while others pray to a God they believe exists somewhere outside themselves, you are being to the truth that God is your own wonderful human imagination. This is why so few will receive this message, because they are not yet ready to accept their own divinity. The very fact that you continue to read these words, that they strike a chord of recognition within you, is evidence that you have evolved beyond the mass consciousness of victimhood. You are ready to assume your rightful place as a conscious creator of your reality. Now, let me share with you a truth so fundamental yet so revolutionary that it will completely transform your understanding of reality. The very act of your consciousness engaging with these words is creating ripples in the fabric of your existence that will manifest in ways you cannot yet imagine. You see, while the vast majority of humanity believes that their future is determined by their past, you are being awakened to the glorious truth that your future is determined by your present state of consciousness. This is why so few will receive this message, because they are still bound by the chains of past-based thinking. Consider the profound implications of what I am telling you. In this very moment, as you absorb these words, you are literally selecting from infinite possibilities the exact experiences that will manifest in your work. Your consciousness is not just receiving information, it is creating reality. I tell you with unwavering certainty, the fact that you are drawn to this deeper understanding is evidence that you have outgrown the limited consciousness of the masses. While others remain trapped in the belief of external causation, you are ready to assume your role as the cause of all causes in your world. Now let us delve deeper into why this message reaches so few. The natural man living in the world of effects cannot comprehend that everything in their experience is simply consciousness externalized. They seek causes in the outer world, never realizing that the outer world is simply consciousness made visible. Most will continue to believe that their consciousness is an effect of their circumstances, never grasping the eternal truth that their circumstances are an effect of their consciousness. But you who have been drawn to these words by the law of divine selection, are ready to reverse this understanding. You see, while the masses chase after effects, trying to change their world by manipulating external conditions, you are being awakened to the truth that only consciousness can be changed. And when consciousness changes, all else must change with it. This is the law. The very fact that these words continue to resonate within you is proof that you have evolved beyond the mass hypnosis of materialism. You are ready to step into the awareness that your consciousness is the one and only reality. Now, let me reveal to you why this moment carries such profound significance in your spiritual evolution. While millions sleepwalk through their existence, accepting the illusion of external causation, you have been drawn to this message by the law of divine timing that governs all manifestation. You see, consciousness operates with perfect precision, bringing to each soul exactly what it needs at the precise moment it is ready to receive it. The very fact that you are engaging with these words now is evidence that your consciousness has expanded to the point where it can grasp these deeper truths. Consider what this means. Out of all the infinite possibilities that exist in any given moment, your consciousness has drawn you to this exact message. This is not chance, not coincidence, but the perfect operation of spiritual law. While others remain caught in the web of random events, you are awakening to the truth that nothing is random. I tell you with absolute conviction, your presence here, your ability to comprehend and resonate with these words is proof that you have reached a level of spiritual maturity that few attain. While the masses continue to seek their good in the world of effects, you are ready to operate from the world of cause. Now let us understand something that the rational mind might reject, but your soul will recognize as truth. The very consciousness that drew you to this message is the same consciousness that creates and sustains the entire universe. There is no separation, no division, all is one consciousness diversely expressed. Most will continue to believe that they must wait for something external to change their lives, never realizing that the waiting itself is the very state that perpetuates their current conditions. But you who have been drawn to these words by divine law, are ready to step into the awareness that waiting is unnecessary because everything exists now in consciousness. You see, while others spend their lives trying to make things happen, you are being awakened to the truth that nothing needs to happen. Everything already is in consciousness, and your task is simply to occupy the state of consciousness that corresponds to your desire. You see, while the masses remain focused on the world of shadows, what they can see, touch, and measure, you are being awakened to the truth that all tangible reality is merely consciousness crystallized into form. This is why so few receive this message, because they are not yet ready to accept that consciousness precedes all manifestation. Consider this eternal truth in this very moment. As these words penetrate your consciousness, you are literally rearranging the entire universe, not the universe of effects that appears so solid and real, but the true universe of consciousness from which all effects spring forth. I tell you with complete authority, your presence here, your continued resonance with these words, is not a matter of choice as the world understands choice. It is the perfect unfoldment of a state of consciousness you entered when you were ready to receive higher truth. Now let us delve deeper into why this message finds so few ready recipients. The natural mind, conditioned by centuries of materialistic thinking, cannot grasp that everything in the visible world is simply consciousness pushed out. They seek causes in effects, never realizing that all effects proceed from the one cause, consciousness itself. Most will continue to believe that their thoughts and feelings are a reaction to their world, never grasping the eternal truth that their world is a reaction to their thoughts and feelings. But you who have been drawn to this message by divine law, are ready to assume your place as the conscious operator of this law. You see, while others remain trapped in the belief that time is a linear progression from past to future, you are being awakened to the truth that all time exists simultaneously in consciousness. The past you remember and the future you anticipate are both present now in your consciousness. Now, as we draw this divine revelation to its completion, understand this final truth, that even this ending is but a new beginning in consciousness. The very fact that you have remained attentive through these revelations is testament to your spiritual readiness. You see, while others may have found these words too abstract, too removed from what they consider practical reality, you have recognized the ultimate practicality of operating from the one and only cause, consciousness itself. This understanding sets you apart from the masses who continue to live in effect. Remember this, the message you have received today will continue to unfold within your consciousness, revealing deeper and deeper layers of truth as you are ready to receive them. For truth, like consciousness itself, is infinite in its expression. I tell you this with finality, you were not drawn to this message to simply hear words, but to experience an awakening of the God power within you. From this moment forward, you will never again see the world through the eyes of the natural man, for you have been initiated into the mysteries of consciousness. Know this, as you leave this message, you are not the same being who began reading it. Your consciousness has been altered, expanded, lifted to a new level of understanding. While others may forget what they read moments after reading it, these truths will continue to work in your consciousness, transforming your entire world. For you are among the few who have been prepared to receive this wisdom, to understand that your consciousness is the only reality, and that all else is simply consciousness made visible. This is not the end of your journey, but rather the true beginning of your conscious creation. Go forth now, knowing that you have been chosen by your own expanded consciousness to receive these truths. Let them work in you, through you, as you are not separate from these principles. You are these principles in operation. And remember, this message found you because you were ready to receive it. Your consciousness drew it to you with the same precision that governs the movement of planets and the blooming of flowers. You are that power, that law, that consciousness made manifest. For those who have ears to hear, let them hear. For those who have eyes to see, let them see. And for you who have been prepared to receive this truth, let this understanding transform every aspect of your being. For consciousness is all there is, and you are that consciousness individualized. And now, in the eternal now where all creation takes place, we conclude this message, knowing that in consciousness there is no conclusion, only eternal unfoldment of that which already is. I speak to you tonight about a principle so profound, yet so simple, that many of you may dismiss it at first. But I tell you with absolute conviction, the most important focus of your life must be yourself. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity, your divine nature, your I am. When I say focus on yourself, I am not speaking of the outer self that you present to the world. I speak of that deeper self, that infinite being within you, that is God. For you must understand this fundamental truth. Your consciousness, your I amness is God. This is not blasphemy. This is the deepest truth of Scripture, hidden in plain sight for those with eyes to see. Consider the words, be still, and know that I am God. These words are not speaking of a distant deity in some far-off heaven. They speak of your own wonderful human imagination, your own consciousness. When you truly focus on yourself, you are focusing on God. For you and the Father are one. Many of you come to me asking about manifestation, about creating your desires in the external world. But I tell you now, all manifestation begins with self-focus, with the recognition of who you really are. For how can you manifest anything if you do not first understand that you are the operant power? You are the God of your universe. Let me share with you a principle that I have tested and proven countless times. When you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. All things come from within. There is no other source. The world you see now is nothing more than your consciousness pushed out. Every person, every circumstance, every condition in your life is yourself pushed out. Do you understand the magnitude of this truth? Everything you see, everything you experience is yourself made visible. Therefore, to change anything in your world, you must first change yourself. Not the outer self, but your conception of yourself, your inner knowing. When I speak of focusing on yourself, I am speaking of assuming the state of consciousness of the person you wish to be. This is not about changing your actions first. Actions follow consciousness. First, you must focus on being the person who would naturally have, do, or be what you desire. Let me give you the perfect example from Scripture. When David faced Goliath, he didn't focus on the giant before him. He focused on himself as the victor. He dwelt in the consciousness of victory before a single stone was thrown. This is the secret that most of the world has missed. David focused on himself as the winner, not on the problem before him. You see, most people have it backwards. They focus on what they want to change in their external world. They focus on their problems, their limitations, their current circumstances. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself and the reflection will change automatically. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the state you wish to occupy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. But, and this is crucial, you must do this from the inside out. Consider this. Every night before you sleep, where does your focus go? Most of you focus on the events of the day, the problems you face, the things you lack. But I tell you, this is the exact opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel yourself to be the person who has what you desire. Many of you may be thinking, but Neville, isn't this selfish? Shouldn't we focus on others? Let me be very clear, there are no others. What you see as others are aspects of yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you truly focus on yourself, your highest self, your divine self, you are focusing on all of humanity. For we are all one consciousness, individualized into seemingly separate beings. The great secret that the mystics and prophets have tried to share throughout the ages is this: your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, absolutely everything, springs from your consciousness. Therefore, focusing on yourself is not selfish. It is the most profound act of creation you can engage in. Let me share with you a technique I have often used and taught. When you go into the silence of your own being, focus on yourself as having already achieved your desire. Do not think of how it will happen. Do not think of the process. Think only of the end, of the person you would be when your desire is fulfilled. If you wish to be wealthy, do not focus on making money. Focus on yourself as someone who is already wealthy. Feel the naturalness of wealth. Feel how you would feel if wealth were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with wealth. This is focusing on yourself in the proper way. If you seek love, do not focus on finding someone to love you. Focus on yourself as someone who is deeply loved and cherished. Feel how you would feel if perfect love were your natural state. Feel the warmth, the security, the joy of being completely loved. This is focusing on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. Some of you might be wondering, but what about action? Don't we need to do something? Yes, action will come, but it will come naturally and effortlessly when you are properly focused on yourself in the state of the wish fulfilled. The actions will flow from your new state of consciousness, not from your current state of lack. Remember the story of Moses parting the Red Sea. He didn't focus on the impossibility before him. He didn't focus on the problem. He focused on himself as one who had the power to lead his people to safety. His focus on himself as the deliverer created the miracle. The sea parted not because of what he did, but because of who he knew himself to be. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. It is not about ego. It is not about selfishness. It is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. It is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Everything you see, everything you experience is pure. When you walk through your day, remember this truth. The world you see is yourself pushed out. Every person you meet is yourself pushed out. Every circumstance you encounter is yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change anything, focus on yourself, not the outer self, but the inner self, the consciousness from which all things spring. I want you to grasp this principle so deeply that it becomes the foundation of your entire life. Your consciousness is the only reality. Your I amness is God. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, your true self, you are focusing on the creative power of the universe. Do not make the mistake of thinking that focusing on yourself means becoming self-centered in the egotistical sense. This is not about the personality, the outer self. This is about recognizing and claiming your divine nature. This is about understanding that you are the operant power in your world. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you focus on becomes your reality. If you focus on yourself as limited, as lacking, as unable, that becomes your reality. But if you focus on yourself as the embodiment of success, of abundance, of love, that becomes your reality. The choice is yours. And you make this choice through your focus. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. While in prison, he didn't focus on his circumstances. He focused on himself as the interpreter of dreams, as one who had a divine gift. His focus on himself in this elevated state led him from the prison to the palace. This is the power of proper self-focus. Many of you spend your days focusing on what's wrong in your life, what's missing, what needs to be fixed. But I tell you now, this is the opposite of what you should do. Instead, focus on yourself as the person who has what you desire. Feel yourself to be that person. Live from that state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the cause, not the effect. You are focusing on the root, not the fruit. You are focusing on the creator, not the creation. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Feel how that person would feel. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. This is not imagination in the fantasy sense. This is using your imagination as the creative power it truly is. Remember, your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else, your body, your circumstances, your relationships, your possessions, these are all effects. They are all yourself pushed out. Therefore, to change any effect, You must change the cause, and the cause is always your consciousness, your concept of yourself. Let me be very clear about this. When I tell you to focus on yourself, I am telling you to focus on the state of consciousness you wish to occupy. If you want health, focus on yourself as healthy. If you want wealth, focus on yourself as wealthy. If you want love, focus on yourself as loved. But do this from the inside out, not the outside in. Many of you try to change things from the outside in. You try to change your circumstances first, hoping that this will change how you feel about yourself. But this is backwards. You must change yourself first, your concept of yourself, your inner knowing, and then the outer world will conform to this new self-concept. Think of it this way. Everything you see in your world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, if you don't like what you see, don't try to change the outer picture. Change yourself, your concept of yourself, and the outer picture must change to match your new self-concept. This is why focusing on yourself is so crucial. Not the self that the world knows, but the self that is your true identity. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Live from that state. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you occupy is the state that manifests. If you occupy the state of lack, lack manifests. If you occupy the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you occupy the state of love, love manifests. This is law. Therefore, when you focus on yourself in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, focus on yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is impossible. The outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Think of yourself as a radio broadcasting station. Whatever frequency you broadcast, whatever state you occupy, that is what manifests in your world. Therefore, to change your world, change your broadcast. Change your concept of yourself. When you go into meditation or prayer, do not focus on what you want to change in your outer world. Focus on yourself as the person who already has what you desire. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Let this feeling saturate your consciousness. Remember, the feeling is the secret. Not the intellectual understanding, not the affirmations, not the visualizations, although these can be helpful tools. The feeling of being the person who already has what you desire is the key. Let me give you a practical application of this principle. If you want more money in your life, do not focus on getting money. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally has money. Feel how you would feel if money were your natural state. Feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes with having money. If you want better relationships, do not focus on finding the right person or fixing your current relationships. Focus on yourself as someone who naturally experiences wonderful relationships. Feel how you would feel if perfect relationships were your natural state. The world is yourself pushed out. Therefore, whatever you focus on in yourself becomes your reality. If you focus on lack, lack manifests. If you focus on abundance, abundance manifests. If you focus on love, love manifests. This is law. Many of you spend your time trying to manipulate the outer world, trying to make things happen, trying to control circumstances and people. But I tell you now, this is unnecessary. Focus on yourself, your concept of yourself, and the outer world must conform to this self-concept. Remember, there is only one cause in all creation, and that cause is consciousness. Your consciousness, your I am-ness. Therefore, when you focus on yourself properly, you are focusing on the only creative power in existence. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you accept as real is the state that manifests. If you accept yourself as limited, limitation manifests. If you accept yourself as abundant, abundance manifests. If you accept yourself as love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on accepting the state you wish to manifest. Accept it as real. Accept it as natural. Accept it as your true state. This acceptance is crucial. Many of you struggle with accepting the state you desire because your senses tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your senses only show you what has been manifested from past states of consciousness. They cannot show you what is possible. I think of it this way: your senses can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your senses dictate your concept of yourself. Choose the concept you wish to embody and focus on that. When you go to sleep tonight, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Feel the naturalness of being that person. Accept this as your true state. Let this acceptance saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your concept of yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your concept of yourself. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Many of you make the mistake of trying to change things in your outer world while maintaining the same concept of yourself. But I tell you now, this is like trying to change your reflection in the mirror by arguing with the mirror. You must change yourself, and the reflection will change automatically. Let me share with you another principle that I have tested and proven. The state you persist in is the state that manifests. If you persist in the state of lack, lack manifests. If you persist in the state of abundance, abundance manifests. If you persist in the state of love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, persist in the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, persist in seeing yourself as successful. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling become so familiar that it becomes your dominant state. Remember, persistence is crucial. You cannot occupy a state for a moment and expect it to manifest. You must persist in the state until it becomes your natural state, your dominant state. Many of you give up too soon. You occupy a state for a day or two, see no results, and return to your old state. But I tell you now, persistence is key. Persist in the state you wish to manifest, regardless of appearances. Think of it this way: when you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the law of growth. In the same way, when you plant a new concept of yourself, trust the law of manifestation. Persist in the state, regardless of appearances. Let me share with you another profound truth. The state you believe in is the state that manifests. If you believe in limitation, limitation manifests. If you believe in abundance, abundance manifests. If you believe in love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on believing in the state you wish to manifest. Believe in it completely. Believe in it naturally. Believe in it your true state. This belief is crucial. Many of you struggle with believing in the state you desire because your past experiences tell you otherwise. But I tell you now, your past experiences only show you what has been manifested from past beliefs. They cannot show you what is possible with new beliefs. Think of it this way: your past experiences can only show you what has been. They cannot show you what can be. Therefore, do not let your past experiences dictate your beliefs about yourself. Choose the beliefs you wish to embody and focus on those. When you go about your day, I want you to focus on yourself as the person you wish to be. Believe in this version of yourself completely. Accept it as your true state. Let this belief saturate your consciousness until it becomes your dominant state. Remember, the outer world can only reflect your beliefs about yourself. It cannot be otherwise. Therefore, if you want to change your outer world, change your beliefs about yourself. This is the true meaning of focusing on yourself. Let me share with you one final principle. The state you live from is the state that manifests. If you live from lack, lack manifests. If you live from abundance, abundance manifests. If you live from love, love manifests. Therefore, when you focus on yourself, focus on living from the state you wish to manifest. If you want success, live from the state of success. Feel how you would feel if success were your natural state. Let this feeling guide your thoughts, your words, your actions. Remember, living from a state is different from trying to achieve a state. When you live from a state, you are that state now. When you try to achieve a state, you push it into the future. Many of you make the mistake of putting your desired state into the future. You say, I will be successful, I will be wealthy, I will be loved. But I tell you now, this keeps your desire forever.